All right, so today we're going to do 9.4, the first half, and then we're going to start 9.5. Or we're going to do the second half of 9.4, and we're going to finish that, and then we're going to start 9.5, the first half. All right, so first off, what's happening with 9.4? Yesterday, or the last time we met, we learned that if you have like x squared equals 16 here, you square root both sides, and you have x equals plus or minus 4. So that was yesterday. What we're doing expanding on is that now sometimes it's not just the variable squared. So I'm going to give an example. X plus 7 equals 9, and this is squared. So everyone, I would recommend writing this down. This is basically your notes. So x plus 7 squared equals 9. What's happening here is that we have a square around these parentheses with a variable in it, right? Because if it was just normal numbers, like if it was 3 plus 7 or something, then you would just plus first and then square it. But since I can't combine them, I'm going to have to square this whole thing. Or because I'm trying to solve for x, I'm going to square root both sides. So I'm still going to square root both sides here and here. Now, when a square and a square root happens, they completely cross out. So the inside of this one on the left stays exactly the same. So that's x plus 7. But on the right, it's going to be plus or minus 3. So positive 3 or negative 3. So what are we going to do from there? Well, we still need to solve for x. So I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides. So I get x equals plus or minus 3 minus 7. But plus or minus 3 minus 7 is actually doable. So what we're going to do here is going to do two solutions. We're going to have two answers in this one. When x equals 3 minus 7, and when x equals negative 3 minus 7. So we're going to end up getting two answers. It happens to be negative 4 and negative 10. So what does that mean? That if I plug in a negative 4 into the original equation, which was x squared plus 7, x plus 7 squared equals 9, or I plugged in a negative 10, I would get the right answer both ways. So what's new about today and this section is that a whole set of parentheses can be square rooted. Okay? Any questions on that? If not, I'm going to go to the next example.
Is that just what we did yesterday?
Kind of. Before it was the square was on the x. Now it's on a parenthesis.
All right.
All right. Okay. I'm going to pause the screen so then you could write it down. I'm going to erase my board and then move to the next one. Okay. We're on our next one. So we have 2 parenthesis x minus 4 squared equals 50. Real common error people make. Instinctively, you're thinking of distribute, but this squared, this power, locks them in the house. You cannot distribute the 2 to x and minus 4. That would be incorrect. So what we're instead going to do is remove everything away from the parentheses, kind of like we remove everything out of the way of a variable. So this is 2 times x minus 4. So the opposite of 2 times is divided by 2. That means I have to divide by 2 on the other side. So now I'm left with a x minus 4 squared equals 25. From that point on, we're going to do what we know best, which is square root both sides. Now we're going to square root both sides. And what happens on the left is just going to be x minus 4 because the square and the square root cancel. And what happens on the right is plus or minus 5. Plus 4 on both sides. X equals plus or minus 5 plus 4. From that situation, we're going to do both the positive 5 and the negative 4. So it's 5 plus 4 and negative 5 plus 4. Right here is 9. That's one of my answers. Right here, it's negative 1. That's another of my answers. Which means if I plugged in a 9 into this equation, I would get my answer. If I plugged in a negative 1 into this equation, I would get my answer. Okay? I'm going to give you an example that you guys are going to try yourselves. Minus 5 equals 7. Okay? So I want you guys to try this one.
Mr. Tobal.
Hey, is that Dira?
Yeah. Rebecca
What's up?
said the password isn't working for her.
49 days? It should be, right?
Is that
You
a
should put in 49 day,
I'll ask her.
and it's all lowercase too.
Wait, what do we do if it becomes a fraction?
I mean, it shouldn't be a fraction, but if it was a fraction, you could square root both the top and the bottom. But if you're dividing, then make sure you could just simplify it. Maybe it divides cleanly.
Okay.
Okay. So remember, you're trying to get the parentheses by itself first. You're going to follow the same rules as if it was just an x. So I would start off by plussing 5 on both sides.
Should I text you privately what I got?
Yes. Send me a
Yeah, shit. All right.
Give me both answers, of course.
I can't do it because of the fraction, so I literally am so confused.
No, I also did that. You got 7/3?
Yeah.
No, because first you have to do minus 5 on both sides before you touch the 3.
Oh, okay, thank you.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, Jacob. It shouldn't be a fraction. Jacob and Leo. Good job, boys.
I'm texting you mine, coach.
Yeah. Zoom chat. Zoom chat.
Zoom chat, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Sam, one of those answers are incorrect. Figure out which one.
Oh, not that.
I have a question.
No. Go ahead, Goldman.
I was wrong?
You're still wrong, Sam.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Scarlett, is that you?
Where's the homework?
How am I going to give homework if I haven't done my lesson? I'm teaching my lesson right now, Scarlett.
Like it's not posted though.
I only got one answer.
It should be
It's the
2
same,
answers.
same online as you are in school.
Oh,
Maybe it's a little different.
coach.
Jonathan, you have an error in your answer.
What do I mean,
Sam,
coach?
you're still incorrect.
Wait, I only got one answer. I only got x equals 1.
Okay.
Oh, and then x equals.
All right, everyone pay attention. Enough time has passed.
Wait,
Is
wait.
x plus 1 squared equals 4. So
What?
from that point, first off, did everyone get to that point? Does anyone need help? All I did is plus 5, make it 12, and then 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay? So first thing I have to do is get the parentheses by itself. Kind of like you get the variable by itself. Same rules.
Is this x to the second power and 1 to the second power?
It is x plus 1 to the second power. You cannot distribute the second powers into the parentheses. Like you can't write it as x squared plus 1 squared. That would be incorrect. So we could square root both sides though. So we square root here, and it crosses out the power here. So it's x plus 1. The square root of 4 is plus or minus 2. So from there, I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. So I got x equals plus or minus 2 minus 1. I'm going to get 2 answers here. And the 2 answers are going to be positive 2 minus 1 and negative 2 minus 1.
Oh, yeah.
That's it?
So it's 1 and negative 3.
Is 1, and negative 2 minus 1, which I think Goldman just said, is 1 and negative 3. Jonathan
Got
and
it.
Leo, I got to say, you guys got it right away. I'm happy.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Oh, Jacob, my bad, man. I misspelled. You got the same initials. I keep everything in initials, and it's only in this class that I have two pairs of people having the same initials. Jonathan and Jacob, and Scarlett and Shayna. They both have the same initials. So it's kind of like so annoying. Jasmine, you can see what the answer is actually now, though, right?
Oh yeah. No, I was just confused before because I didn't know what to do with the 5, and I started with the 3 instead. That was my mistake.
Yeah. So it's like if it was just this, guys, 3x minus 5, you would know what to do. It's the same thing with parentheses. Just plus 5 first, then divide by 3. Okay, so I'm going to leave it pause for a second. That is what I wanted to cover from 9.4. We're going to start 9.5. We're going to do the first part of 9.5. If you want to title 9.5, it's completing the square.
Wait, is this the rest of the lesson?
This is going to be the second half of the lesson, yeah.
Oh,
Okay. All right, so let's resume. I hope everyone can see my clean whiteboard now. Complete the square. That's what it's going to be called. If you ever need to Google more information on it, it's called completing the square. All right. So first, before I even talk about completing the square, let's talk about what that involves, what that means, or what are we basing this whole idea on? If you remember, we had special cases. We had a special case like this, x minus 1, or let's do 2, x minus 2, and x plus 2. If you were to FOIL it out, it will always be x minus 2x, x squared, minus 2x plus 2x minus 4. Cross these out, x squared minus 4. And that special case, remember, is a minus b, a plus b. When you multiply these things, will become a squared minus b squared. I might have wrote it ax squared minus b squared, but basically the same thing. So those were a special case. So what does that special case matter? Well, we had that second type of special case. The second type of special case is when they were exactly the same. For example, x plus 2, let's use a different number, x plus 3, x plus 3. Exactly the same. So they're both positives in this one. When you FOIL it out, you're going to get x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. The reason I'm going fast with these is because we've done this a while back. Combine these two like terms, x squared plus 6x plus 9. This is also a pattern. This is also a pattern. The pattern is a plus b times a plus b will become a squared plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. That pattern will always happen if they're exactly the same in these parentheses. So if this pattern happens, the reverse is true. So I could go from here to here, or I could go from here and back. All right? Now the question is, how do we even use this to our advantage right here? And that's the literal lesson today. Completing a square uses this exact formula to our advantage. So box is somewhere, or if you wrote in your notes, box it as imported, okay? All right, I'm gonna pause for a second. I'll clear up my board, just so everyone has a chance to write it. Now, what we're going to do with that information is solve things that are not normally factorable. Let me pull up my algebra book. That is not normally factorable. Without using this. Okay. So let's say we have something like this. X squared plus, let's do, I'll use the example I just used. 6x plus 11 equals 0. Okay? Now, how we learned this before is that ABC thing, if you remember. What multiplies to C and adds to B. But there's a big issue in this situation. What multiplies to 11 is 1 and 11. Nothing here multiplies to B, which is 6 in this case. So the question is, oh, I can't solve this. Before, that would be true. If it was on your last test, I would say this is unsolvable. Skip it. So now we're going to go through an example of how do we do complete the square. First thing I want to do is get all my x's by itself. So I'm going to do x squared plus 6x. I want to get x's by itself, so minus 11, minus 11. So it's going to equal negative 11. 0 minus 11 is negative 11. Okay? So first thing I did is got them by themselves. Now, from the example from before, we know a squared, and maybe I'll write it like this, ax squared plus 2abx plus b squared can become ax plus b, ax plus b. Okay? So what we need is a perfect square in the front. We got a perfect square in the front, so we're good right there. What we need is 2abx. Well, we have x. Now, what is 2ab? That's going to be the problem. And today, we're just going to practice finding what our new term is. That's going to go here, and we're going to call that term c. And that c is also going to be also called b squared, okay?
Mr. Tawal, I'm really lost and really confused.
Okay, so here's the basic gist though, Scarlett, then.
Yeah, like what's, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, here's the basic rule and what we're just focusing on today.
Okay.
I want to put something here, a plus c somewhere here that makes it so I could do this perfectly, which I could split it into ax plus b, ax plus b. That is my.
How'd you get ax plus b?
That was what I was talking about before I erased this board, which was if you have something like this.
But that's a to the second power plus 2ab plus b to the second power.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if you have this, you could go to here in reverse.
So ax plus b is the same exact thing as a plus b? Like you can do the same thing with it?
Yes. In this case, a would be 1 in this case, right? Remember the number in front of x squared is 1? Or whatever number in front of x squared is a?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to make it so I could break this down. So I need to find a c. So this is the equation to find c. C is going to equal b divided by 2 squared. So this is the big equation right here. C is going to equal b divided by 2 squared. This is what we're going to practice for both your homework and today. Okay?
B over what?
B over 2 squared.
Oh.
Not just 2 squared. Okay, so let's find C in this case. A is 1, that's in front of the x squared. B is 6. We're finding a C. We're making up a C. So we're going to make C6. So let's see here. I want this right here, C, to become something useful. So I'm going to use this equation. I just said 6 was B, so it's going to be 6 divided by 2 squared. 6 divided by 2, pretty simple, is 3. 3 squared is 9. So what does that mean? This 9 right here, is going to become my C. So I'm going to erase the C and add a 9 to here. Now, if I add it to the left, I technically have to add it to the right. Not technically, I have to. So now I can rewrite this whole thing as x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals negative 11 plus 9, negative 2. At this moment, you're like, well, how does that help me, Mr. Tobel? I still have a problem. I see you, Jacob. Give me a second now. I still have a big issue. I don't know how to do this. Well, now I picked a C on purpose that is easy to factor. So what are multiples of 9? So think about the ABC thing. What multiplies a 9 that gets you B or
3.
6? 3 and 3. By the way, that's not random. You literally chose it because it becomes this. You literally chose that. So because this becomes 3 and 3, I could rewrite this part as x plus 3, x plus 3 equals negative 2. Now, if this is x plus 3 and x plus 3, they're exactly the same thing. When you multiply something that's exactly the same thing, you could rewrite it as x plus 3 squared. Okay?
What's the homework?
Charlotte, you can't finish the ending before the movie's finished. So, anyway, x plus 3 squared equals negative 2. Okay? From there, we will be able to solve. This one happens to be a no solution. Why is it a no solution? Why is it a no solution? Go ahead, Jonathan.
Tell us.
Because like it would need to be a 0 at the end for it to have a solution.
That's not that's not a reason why. It's easier to solve it when it's a 0 at the end.
Oh.
Just tell us.
I hear you. What is it?
A negative? Is that why?
I heard a negative, yeah. Because if you square root both sides, you can't square root negative. So at that point, it's no solution. Your homework for today is literally just to practice this part, okay? And you'll see the problems that you'll be given for it.
Didn't we already have homework due today?
It's homework due today. This homework that I'm doing, this lesson's homework is going to be due Tuesday. The next homework.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Any question, Jacob? Was that your question this whole time?
No. So basically, you have A and B, and then you use a formula to find C, and then
Yes.
you plug it in.
Yeah. So we're going to use that formula to find C, and then I'm going to try to figure out maybe an easier way to describe it. But very important, this formula. Very important, this formula. That's going to stay as is.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions on this? Speak up because I don't have everyone in my camera.
Wait,
Yeah.
do you mind like making like steps, like writing the steps to do this? Because it's kind of like confusing to remember it all.
Sure. I'll do that for the second day. Okay. So day 2 of this lesson, I will do it.
Do you mind doing this just so I can get the homework done tonight?
No, the homework is literally just using this equation. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And you'll see how the
We have homework due tonight.
or due, Tuesday. The homework of Tuesday is due Tuesday. All right. Okay. Oh, I guess I don't really need this. All right, your homework. You ready for it, guys? And I'll also post it on Google Classroom after this, okay? Is
Wasting.
page 597.
597.
597.
Can
Number.
you post the pictures of the pages?
I'll
on Google
post the pictures too.
Classroom?
Numbers
What?
32 to 37.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was the homework I didn't hear?
You gonna
Sure.
post me in the pictures?
Send me a
Yeah, I'm
red
gonna
button.
post the pictures and everything, but some people are so eager for the homework. I want to say
597.
597, numbers 32 to 37. That refers to today's first half of the lesson. And then,
A lot of homework.
yeah,
That's 2
Yeah.
days. That's 2 classes.
it's
And
two
class is almost
classes.
over. That's a lot of time.
It's 2 half classes, Scarlett. Okay,
Coach, you're giving us
so
so
add it
much
to a whole class.
homework.
That's 2
Numbers.
lessons.
Numbers 3 to 11 on page 608.
Even or odds or both?
I'm bad at
Actually, let's go just 3 to 8. So I'll make it all, okay?
Wait, page.
Oh my.
So wait, what?
That's a Mr. Paul, this is a lot of work. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, I
We
have a
have
lot.
time to talk about how it's a lot of work. Let's do it.
What else do you
You're
have to
telling us
do?
what to do, so we have to listen to you.
Yeah, it's already 2:23. We only have 10 minutes left of class.
Yeah, homework's homework, dude.
Homework takes a half an hour, an hour.
I
It's not.
talked to Ms. Stiefel about this the other day. You can't have a long Zoom and give work
Yeah.
unless we have class one of the days and then you give us work instead.
You hear that, Jake Paulers?
Like, can we have like
I
3
can't have Zoom. Well, that
or,
doesn't
like,
make sense.
if you
I can't
have a
teach
long
on
Zoom-
Zoom.
If
And
you
Just
have a
alone.
long Zoom and you're teaching a lesson, if it takes up 20 minutes, you can give 20 minutes worth of work for the rest of the period. But you can't give like homework that we would have to do on days that we don't meet or like don't have scheduled. Even if we
Let's
don't
do
like,
Tuesday.
physically.
You literally have 5
Are
Listen.
any of those days that we have like are supposed to have class?
Tuesday's the day we're supposed to have class.
And are we gonna have class or is it gonna be due that day?
No, it's going to be a video lesson and then
The work from today is also gonna be due along.
Mr. Zabar, are you excited for the Sammy Artman vlog coming out tomorrow?
hold up. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. I can't teach a Zoom lesson and give homework. I can't. I don't know.
No,
I
it's too much work.
I was talking to Ms. Stiefel about it. She said you can't have a long Zoom and still give work. And we're only supposed to be assigned work on days that we have a scheduled, like whatever. But if we're using this scheduled time today for a Zoom, then we can't have a lot of, like, I don't think we're supposed to have work.
All right. Well, I think this is 15 minutes of work because we started at 2 instead of 1:50.
I can't do this
Sorry.
in 15 minutes.
I came on at 2 and I was like, and it was like the middle of like a lesson.
You came on 2:03, which was 3 minutes after it started. It's 2:25. It's 15 minutes of work. I think it's fairly 15 minutes of work because especially the second page stuff is literally just doing b over 2 squared.
No, it's so much work. You have to write every single problem down. That takes a lot of work.
You hear that, Sammy Paulers?
Okay. So anyway, what I'm going to do is post this right now in Google Classroom. And if you want to stay on Zoom, I'm happy to do some homework with you.
When is the homework due?
Tuesday.
It's light work. Tuesday, it's like 5 days.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah, Tuesday is in 5 days.
Yeah, but I have a life out of school.
I hear
Yeah,
that.
we're gonna go out to a party.
A day is 24 hours
I'm
long.
gonna call
A day is
government.
24 hours long.
Okay, hey, Jonathan, where else? One, I agree with you. Where else is you gonna go? But you're sleeping for almost half the day.
Hear that?
Exactly.
8 hours.
Let me
Yeah,
sleep. Let me sleep.
Wait, Scarlett, I also have plums. So cute. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Like I have other things to do also.
I think I'm
I'm
just gonna stick
trying to focus
to.
on myself.
Anyone have Clorox?
Guys,
I'm gonna
it's
stick to
Okay.
video
It's a
lesson.
lot of work.
working.
Sorry for
Thank you,
interrupting. Okay.
Dan Clorox.
And continue going, coach.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do video lessons and then we'll do the homework review. Anyway,
I like what we did before. I think it was just like a lot easier. Like, watch a 10-minute video and then do the assignment.
yeah,
That was a
right?
lot easier.
It is a lot easier. Also, there's a skip button, which I like.
Also, I liked it how you would have like Zooms like the next.
Yeah, that's what I
have
like.
Zooms like during lunch or something, and if we had any questions,
Yes, I like that. Because if you have a question, you can just join.
or email you. It's easy.
Yes. And it
Like I
works. It's
said, the
effective.
issue is that there are issues where people feel that 597 we have.
We do like a Google Classroom like class vote.
Yeah, like that's
Wow.
that's other classes. That's not
If we get- if we
our
get-
class. That's
Mr.
through the
Cabal,
whole
if we get-
department of the whole
If we
school.
get everyone in the class to like agree with it,
No,
then maybe
because
it would
I'm
be
the
different.
teacher at the end of the day. So I'm just deciding we're going to do video lesson, mandatory
No.
homework.
What didn't you say? Oh wait, we're doing a video lesson, right?
This is
Like,
the
Are
video
we or are we
lesson.
not?
Oh, I
Even though I
smell
did the
it.
video lesson live, all intents and
Smell
purposes.
the cat.
Wait, so like we're gonna be continuing with like mandatory Zooms, you're saying?
Mandatory Zooms for sure. Whether it's going to be a homework help with a video lesson, or is it going to be I teach it on Zoom like I just did today? That's changing.
But Mr. Tabal, I like to sleep at this time. So
All right,
Yeah,
choose
now
the
you're
time to sleep then. You have 24 hours. Somebody said that earlier.
Got you, bro.
There you go.
I understand where you're coming from. I just like, that's
I
why.
know. I know.
Hop off.
You're free to hop off, but I'm about to go over the homework if you want to stay on. I'll make that part optional.
No.
we have another class.
Oh yeah, I have Spanish.
Oh, yeah, you go. Adios. All right.
My Spanish teacher didn't even start a Zoom today.
I don't know what to tell you
Right?
about that.
Jonathan, did she end up starting it?
All right, thank you, coach.
Posted homework.
Say bye to the Paulers. Say bye to the Paulers.
The
Thank you.
Pollers.
Thank
Am
you.
I getting streamed? Whoa.
All right, peace out.
Thank you.
Bye, Mr. Cabal.
Peace, 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 peace. Ellie, everything good? You're muted.
Yeah. Wait, I just looked at the homework for 597. It
Yeah.
doesn't show questions 32 to 37.
Oh, it should be 598. That's why. Let me pull up the right page for you guys. And I'll fix that. Hopefully no one notices too fast. If everyone's so busy, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm just gonna do it now so I get it over with.
Yeah. 598. Page 598.
Can you post that page though? Because I don't have the book.
Yeah, I just downloaded it, and I'm gonna edit my homework thing, and remove pi 597, change it to 598, 98, attach, file, from my computer, 598, upload, save. All right, the page is up there.
Yeah, I saw it.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem, man.
Have a good day.
Hey, you too, Ellie.
Bye.
Bye.